Welcome back. Today, we are continuing on our previous class, and we are talking about something that most people really struggle with the first time they start doing GraphQL, just because it just differs so much from REST. I'm talking about error handling. So in REST, we usually communicate errors to the client through error codes. So we have dedicated error codes for different things: 404 not found, 400 in general, client request, 500 usually server request, and so on. But in GraphQL, we usually return 200 on every request. There's even a lot of memes on this topic because for a lot of REST developers, this is just a difficult concept to accept. And the second thing is that in GraphQL, we have something called partial response, which, if you think about it, just makes perfect sense. So the whole idea behind GraphQL is that we make one request and we get one response back. So, for example, if certain fields fail in our resolving process, we don't want to fail the entire response, the entire payload. So we will return everything that we managed to resolve. And for everything else, we will return a dedicated errors field with list of errors. There are different ways to handle errors. I will try to at least mention most of them, but this is a really kind of complicated and long topic that we could make even an entire series just on this. But maybe we'll do something like that in the future. So just let's quickly jump in. So let me just restart the server so we have a fresh start. And if you followed the previous class, you can just continue, but if you are skipped it, so you can get the code just if you go to graphqlguy.com, tutorials, SpringGraphQL tutorial, error handling, and you can just clone the repo from here. Actually, I have it open here, and just clone the class for branch, and you will have our starting point. Let me just show you a few things here. So, and I just want to fetch the title. Let's just verify that this works. Okay. So the first thing that I want to show you is, so we make this field invalid. And this is kind of the first and easiest type of errors in GraphQL. It's very, very easy to recognize it because we only have errors field and we don't have data field. This just means that our request was invalid and it was rejected before any resolvers managed to start resolving data. This just means that you need to look at your request and just match it against the schema. Usually it just means syntax error. The next thing that I want to show you is something that we will fix in this class. When we search for a movie that doesn't exist, we just get null. And obviously this is not ideal because the client just doesn't know what happened. It doesn't know if some backend service went down, if the error happened, or if the movie just doesn't exist. So in these kind of scenarios, just the best is to throw an exception and return kind of an error to the client. I think that's a good starting point. We will show a few more things later. Yeah, let's start coding. So the first thing that I want to do is last time we created this invalid input exception and we just put it in the shared package. So I just want to move that into a dedicated package because we'll be creating a few more exceptions. Exception. We will move that here. And I will create one more exception. Found exception. We will rename this into entity type. And I will make the message a bit nicer. Entity not found, and actually we won't have a message here. We'll have a long ID entity not found for ID. This looks good. So we were throwing a movie not found. Let's just go there so we can talk about it immediately. So we could have created movie not found exception, but that's not wrong. There is no right and wrong here because this is kind of all philosophical. I kind of prefer having one exception per general use case. So this, we had invalid input. We didn't have an exception like invalid input in movies. The same way, I don't like movie not found exception, person not found exception, and so on. It's just entity not found, and we can communicate a type. So we will obviously pass a movie if the movie wasn't found. So let's just throw this, and I just want to mention one more thing, or else throw, and we will throw new. And this is the next thing that I want to talk about because it's kind of two different camps, entity not found exception. Some people will argue really, really heavily against kind of shadowing core exceptions. So you can see here, and I used exactly the same name that exists in core Java. I usually personally don't do this because most people, 50% of the time, they will use the wrong one and they will throw this one. So I would personally, in my projects, have something like movie DB entity not found exception. So I would kind of have dedicated exceptions for my projects. The problem with that approach is often people just won't know about those exceptions and they will just create additional ones. So I will create movie entity not found exception. Somebody else will create, I don't know, GraphQL guy entity not found exception, the third, because just people won't be able to find them. A benefit of this, people will just, it's a kind of a, it's a really good name. So people will try to throw entity not found exception and then they will see that we actually have a custom one. And they will throw that one. And we will just add movie and ID. I was just about to say, let's try and test that, but actually, I mean, it will already work. Just we want to create a nice resolver so we can add additional things. So obviously we are not returning null anymore. But yeah, we just get internal error because we're not handling the exception. So let's just go, and we want to create our exception handler. So let's name it global exception handler. And I misspelled it. Rename global exception handler. I want to have a logger here, and I'll annotate this with controller advice. And so we want to return a GraphQL error, and we want to handle entity not found exception, entity not found exception, and we want to pass here data fetching environment env. I can name this environment. And what we want to do here, we want to return GraphQL error builder, and we want new error to pass environment here. We want to add a message of get message. Our error type is error type not found, and we want to add an extension just to communicate to the client what entity wasn't found. Movie. No, sorry, entity type and get entity type build. So hopefully this will work. This is kind of a Java way of communicating that. Different frameworks have different ways. This is still not in the official specification. It might find its way in, but for now, this is just one of the ways. I would just say like keep it consistent. Like if you are using this, then just use it in all your exceptions. Just communicate through extensions. Don't just mix and match, because then you just confuse your clients. Let's try to test this now, and we are still getting internal error. Oh. And did I use the correct one here? Did I make the mistake that I said people will make? Yeah, I used the correct one. Maybe the server didn't restart fully. Just put a breakpoint here. Controller device. Yeah, I didn't annotate it. So it's a GraphQL exception handler. I was like, what's happening? Why I can't see it? So now we're good. And now, so now we get our entity movie not found for this ID. This is the extension. Path is the movie. And You can see that our request is valid because obviously we didn't get any data. But this is the first level. We would just need to do the same, similar for handle invalid input exception, invalid input exception, invalid input exception. It's just here bad request exception. We get the message, and in our extension we just put the field invalid input exception get field. So these are our two dedicated exceptions, and it's always a really good practice to have kind of a global exception resolver. So for all exceptions that nothing else catches, so just handle unhandled or global, or and we'll just use a global exception E. And the first thing that I like to do here is use a reference and then just log unhandled exception. We will do reference. Reference is this, and path is this. Let's just add reference. We'll have environment. Info get path. Okay, and under we'll add reference. This will be kind of 500 unhandled. And here we don't want to kind of publish this. We just want to say that. So we want to explicitly be as vague as possible, because we don't want to kind of give too much information, because we didn't predict this, so we can't know what error happened. But we do want to give a way to find this error. So we give this reference to our clients. They will ask us what happened there. We will search our logs for that reference, and since we logged it here, we'll be able to see this exception. So this is a really, really good pattern that kind of I like to use, and in my opinion, it will make your life easier. You can do the same above. Sometimes I do it, but here it's very, very specific. If the entity is not found, it's just not found. For invalid input, it might be just good maybe to log it, what actually was sent. So you can kind of compare, maybe just the validation was set up incorrectly. But yeah, we won't do that now. What else did I want to show you? uh, we kind of updated the controller. We can play around a bit. For example, the next thing that I would like to show you movie one. So here we can see that our pattern works. For our movie one, we got a response, and for our movie two, which doesn't exist, we got null, and we got a nice error. In certain scenarios, for example, if you are submitting multiple movies, kind of a batch request, sometimes you want to return a list of movies that were resolved and a list of movies that weren't. I can demonstrate that. So let's go to our schema, for example, and we'll define movies by ID. So we'll movies by IDs, because IDs, and let's make this, I just misspelled this in schema. Yes, movies by IDs, and we will return movie. So we want to pass in a list of IDs, and we want to get a list of movies. Now, there is a simple way to kind of implement this, because JPA supports this kind of out of the box. Let's just implement a resolver. So we want to return, are we in movies? We are. So a list of movies. We want movies by IDs, and we want a long list of IDs, and we will return movie service find by IDs, and we'll just pass IDs. Obviously, we'll have to create this, but let's just, it's not schema, it's query mapping, and we'll have to create this method, and we will return movie repository find all by ID, and we pass IDs. So the thing here is, if we check the documentation, it says if some or all IDs are not found, no entities are returned for these IDs. Let's just check what that means. So I'll just refresh this. So we have this. I'll just open a new tab, and let's movies by IDs. We'll just fetch the title. That doesn't matter. And for example, 1, 2, 3, obviously all of these exit. What did we do wrong? Oh, like this. 2, and 3. What did we do wrong? Oh, we didn't do this argument. I didn't even check. Probably it didn't even. Yeah, without this, it won't. Anyway. So we have our 3 movies, but for example, if I add something that I know that doesn't exist, nothing happens. And this might be exactly what you wanted. So maybe you just want to fetch all of the movies that exist, but usually this is not what people want. And there is a way to handle this. I will actually just copy that because I don't want to go too much into it. And we will explain it. Just how did we name it? Find by IDs. So you can use data fetcher result to return both the success and the error. So in this scenario, we will find all of them that we can, and then we will calculate the missing ones. And for those, we'll return errors. So the way that looks, if I go here and just send the same request, see we got our 3 that we got, but here we get the error for the missing one. And obviously, if we had more of them missing, they would be added. So often, this is exactly what you want. The last thing that I want to mention is often just throwing an exception is not a good pattern, and there is something that is referred to kind of error as data. We already have something similar in our domain here. So for example, if we try to delete the person, I'll just show it here. You can apply this everywhere, but kind of here, it's really, really obvious. If we try to delete the person that is linked to a movie, we throw an exception. Let me just, I think we do that in person service. So here, let's just fix this. So here we want to throw entity not found. Let's just fix this while we are here and delete this. Name can be blank, apply if present, delete person response. So delete person return doesn't exist. So since here this person doesn't exist, we kind of have already an exception for this. So instead of this, we will throw perfect, consistent. But in this scenario, we could throw an exception, but I would argue that that's probably wrong, because it's very, very difficult for a client to handle this. And this will be a common exception. So we want a way for an API client to branch on an error and handle it automatically. And the way we can kind of implement that is just providing a dedicated errors. So we can keep the success here and error. We will delete some error. So, or error, delete person error. And we will declare an enum of this, and we will declare kind of a usual error that can happen here. So we'll just fix it on the Java side as well. But now this is something that our API clients can handle automatically. And this is a pattern common in GraphQL, because it's so easy for clients to handle this, because this is kind of it's an action that where error is expected. So you should enable clients to handle it automatically. Let's just implement that Java side as well. So we want delete person response, and we want to create an enum here. So error, that will be an enum. Let's just I just wanted to copy it because I'll just misspell it, and that will be an error. So I want to no. So I want to go here, and for now we'll just have this one, and delete person response, have delete person error. So here delete person error, link to movie, and here we will have null. One more. Let's go to Station, delete person. Let's, we need to refresh. And we can see here that we can't delete this because it's a link to a movie. We didn't delete it. But this is now something that an API client can match and handle it automatically. And I would stop here for now. I think we mentioned a lot of things. Obviously, we didn't cover everything, but we did cover the main ways you can handle errors in GraphQL. In the next class, we will start talking about security and permissions, because in GraphQL, that's a really, really interesting topic, because in REST, you secure your resources based on URLs. And since in GraphQL, everything is a single URL, we need slightly different approach. Yeah, enjoy your evening. See you in the next one.